The Washington Commanders have always been a strong team, but with Terry McLaurin as their wide receiver, they've never been better. With his sights always higher than money, we saw one of the best players in action. If you've ever wondered how Terry became one of the NFL's best players, stay tuned as we will go through his exciting journey and everything you need to know. Let's start with how long his new extension is, how much he will be getting paid, and how he feels about the offer. As we previously stated, money isn't something Terry is overly concerned with, though he's not complaining either. His new 3-year extension is worth up to $68.2 million, but as we all know, he's more excited to show off his talents and validate the work he's put into the sport than he is about the money. When he reflected on the moment he signed the contract, he said, "If you're blessed to be in a situation to get a second contract, you know what that means for yourself, your future, and your family." That part of it was awesome. He said that the emotions he felt came from a different place, and he thinks it was the journey, and that his journey was different. And he's not wrong. His journey was different. He's one of the most competitive players in the NFL and went from a third-round backup or extended player to one of the highest paid wide receivers in the NFL. So, why is Terry McLaurin considered to be so good? Terry played for the Washington Commanders on the 15th of November, where they beat the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles 32-21. Now, Terry was one of the main picks for the team, and he certainly performed well. He is one of the highlights to watch. He has played with 9 starting quarterbacks in his 3-year career and has caught 260 passes. In 2022, he has 38 receptions and a team high of 737 receiving yards to his name. We're sure we'll see even more great football from this star player as he continues to play for the Commanders, especially with his new 3-year extension. We now also understand why his agent, Buddy Baker, stated that Terry's press conference was so impressive and that he hadn't seen anything like this in his career. It all happened because of how far Terry had come. Next, the competitive nature of Terry McLaurin. Now, we all know that one friend who's more competitive than the rest, but no one even comes close to Terry McLaurin. Terry loves to retell the story of when he played Scrabble. Now, when you're left with the letters K, Z, Y, and X, you can't make a word. Any average person would call it and give up, but not Terry. He said, "I'm sitting there for 15 minutes, figuring out what word I can make out of it." He then added to this, "I hate losing more than I like winning. When I'm playing video games, I want to win every single game." A bit of competitive nature is always good, no matter what sport you're playing. And yes, he might be a bit excessive, but this led to him being one of the best NFL players we've seen. Now, Cam Sims added to his nature and said he's even competitive when it comes to who's first in the meeting room. Terry easily blames himself if something goes wrong, so he tries to find the best approach to the situation, even in trivial things like a 3v3 NBA 2K match. He stated, "When you're in leadership situations like I've been blessed to be in, you've got to take that approach. Like a good leader, we see Terry take responsibility when something goes wrong." Now, how does Terry McLaurin handle his losses? So, you might think Terry is out there throwing chairs alongside a few tantrums, but no. He takes losses like a champ. Instead of storming out of the room or off the field, he'll assess what he did wrong. If he's playing a video game and makes a wrong move, he already pulled the ace out of his sleeve and is ready with the next game plan. We see this frequently on the field, and this is why he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. We also see that Terry has played Far Cry 3 as he knows the definition of insanity. I try not to do the same things over and over again expecting a different result. Voss would have been proud. During his first spring practice session, he also used this mindset as we saw him talking to veteran cornerbacks. This led to the improvement of his play style as he played alongside Doug Baldwin. He also bettered his skills when catching a contested ball, and this led to more catches and better plays throughout his career. If we go back to the Green Bay Packers game, we saw him using the skills he practiced. We saw Taylor Heineke on a 3rd and 9 play with only 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. He was about to get hit and threw an intermediate out. Terry just made a break, but Jair Alexander was on him. He fought off Alexander and completed the 12-yard grab. Although Terry had trouble with his play in college, he has become a model for his peers after years of dedicated effort. Now onto how Terry picks out what he needs. Terry and his position coach use one word when describing how they watch films: deliberate. They can spend hours watching matches of other teams, but it won't matter if they don't pick out what they need. He said, "A lot of times you can get lost in the film and you don't know what you're looking for. You look up in an hour and it's like, what did I watch?" Now, when Terry goes into these films, he focuses on who he is. He's a receiver known for his speed and hard release. He watches the defenders and sees how they'll defend a receiver with a similar play style, and he'll dissect any weaknesses the player has. He then takes out his checklist. How do they play press man? How's their footwork? How do they play off-man coverage? and what skills can he use against them to make an opening. Even in the offseason, we see Terry working and bettering himself. He watches more films and practices hard just to keep in shape. Others might fall off, but not Terry McLaurin. Having so much knowledge is a massive asset to Terry and the entire team. When the moment calls for it, the team can adjust their play style and most likely outbrain their opponents. Like the match against Green Bay, he studied Alexander. Terry knew he couldn't waste any movement at the line. He knew he had to get Alexander to play at his pace, and that is exactly what he did. Next, how did his match against Alexander and the studies of films help him in more games? A great match we saw was against the Indianapolis Colts. We saw the Commanders taking home a win against the Colts, with Terry studying Gilmore and how he plays press man. Now, unlike Alexander, Gilmore liked to inch out players. This spruced up McLaurin's attack style as he stepped hard to the outside. This is the same action he took against Alexander, and this left Gilmore running back and chasing Terry. Ultimately, McLaurin cut in and caught a 9-yard catch on 2nd and 10. After the game, McLaurin commented and said, "I put a lot of those releases on film, and knowing that he'd react to that, I could get the inside release I wanted. This goes to show if you work and study hard, you can achieve great things." Finally, how does Terry McLaurin handle all his emotions? Being a pro athlete is not only tough on your body, but on your mind as well. Terry stated that he struggles with the "I could be doing more, I'm not doing enough" mindset. Luckily, he started going to therapy in January and follows up weekly. Now, with him being so analytical, he always felt bad when he reflected on the work he put in and then saw the results. This led him down a dark path, but he said that he had to get used to the thought that life happens for a person who is always in control. Something trivial could ruin his entire day, as he would obsess about it. He added to his mental health, saying that he had to bring himself out of the dark hole, and now he has to stop himself from entering it too frequently. He said that even small things like dropping his food could ruin his day, but since he has gone to therapy, it is much better. He said that the hardest part was overcoming the feeling of not being good enough, and by now, we all know that Terry is better than good. He's one of the best players in the NFL, thanks to hard work, dedication to the sport, and learning player styles. His focus on his mental health is also important, as it makes him feel more confident on the field, and confidence is a key element when you're playing football. We've reached the end of our video. Please share your reactions and let us know if you're a Terry McLaurin fan or not in the comments below. Always remember to subscribe and like. See ya!